Welcome to Veterans Talk on Sparks 1524. I'm Nathaniel Miller. Please pardon the laughter. We are now on take number 8 in the last 45 minutes for this video. Started out with studio light going out, camera cutting out, microphone cutting out, and then a series of phone calls uh, every time I'm in the middle of something. And it's been a morning. So hopefully take number 8 will work. I wanted to make a quick follow-up video to what I put out on Monday. Today is Wednesday the 16th. This is why I write things down. So it was Monday the 14th. That was a very difficult video because one of the things that I wrestle with my own PTSD issues, and it's a common thing that many of us wrestle with, is not being able to feel emotion in real time, so it piles up. And over 20 years of being betrayed and assaulted and threatened, life and career, by people who were actually in charge of me and having to live in that survival mode, it's hard. Here's an example of how quick and automatic it is for me to shove stuff down and ignore it. Yesterday, I was on the phone with a medical provider for a whole other issue, something small. Very nice gentleman, but he made a dumb joke. Now, I'm the king of dumb jokes. I love dumb jokes. I love the cornier the joke, the better. But I also know jokes can fall flat. And his joke, it didn't just fall flat. It hit the ground like a turkey thrown out of a helicopter on Thanksgiving Day in Cincinnati. And if you get that pop culture reference, then you know some good comedy. As far as that situation, there were two appropriate responses for healthy dialogue. One would be just to ignore it and laugh it off, which is actually what I did. The other would be to say, "Sir, that just really wasn't funny." The reason I'm bringing it up, though, is because I did laugh it off, not by making a conscious choice because I was angry and thought it through real quick, like, this is not worth yelling at him about. He just made a mistake. It's because as soon as that plunk, and pardon the camera shake, but it gives you the junk, hit inside that something went wrong, that something hit me the wrong way, just like that, I turned it off, felt nothing, laughed it off, and kept going. A couple hours later, I was enraged because of the delayed reaction. And that's a common PTSD symptom. It doesn't matter if you're a combat vet or, like me, most of your issues are generated by non-combat issues that stem from your leadership betraying you and threatening you, or you're in a car wreck or a house fire or something. Trauma causes us to go into survival mode. That's one of our species' strengths. The problem is when you're repeatedly subjected to trauma, and on top of that, you're not given a chance to work it through, you bury it. It piles up and you become increasingly numb. And I'm a very numb person, believe it or not. As animated as I am on video, as funny as I am, I'm beginning to realize some of my gregariousness, some of my energy level as far as interacting with people is a way to try and feel, in that case, good feelings, and feel in real time. That's one of the reasons I'm not taking down Monday's video, even though I'm very honest to God embarrassed by it, because I'm not used to being vulnerable, much less feeling negative emotions in real time, much less doing that in front of people. In fact, just talking about that right now is very difficult, but needs to be done. Not just me, for others. First off, before we go any further, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a doctor. If you're having an actual crisis, if you are thinking of harming yourself, if you're already past the point of ideation to planning it, please call 911 or call the Veterans Crisis Line. It's linked down below in the description. I have used it myself. In fact, last time I used the Veterans Crisis Line was January 9th, 2019. I had just got to Washington State, and this was before all the shit happened at Keyport, where my leadership there threatened me and screwed with people's careers, and had a new department had come in that made her life a nightmare because she insisted on approving every single thing personally. Oh, by the way, she said that right after telling us her job was to remove Barry so we could work quicker. I called them that night because I had just moved to Washington State. It was raining, it was cold, it was dark. I just was overwhelmed. It worked. They got me into some quick care. I got through all that. So if you are in crisis, if you are thinking of harming yourself, please call 911 or call the Veterans Crisis Line. Again, it's linked below in the description. Yes, I have the credibility to tell you life is worth living. I was on suicide watch back in August of 1998 after ingesting 5 boxes of sleeping pills and drinking 1 bottle of wine. I was trying to go with a little class. Suicide watch. I couldn't even go to the fucking bathroom by myself for 3 days because they were afraid I might do something like stick my head in the toilet to drown myself. I've been at that rock bottom. So I do have the credibility, I hope, to tell that you will hear me if I say it's worth putting one foot in front of the other one more day and reaching out. That said, one of the reasons I reached out on video was partly to vent and to make the point that not every PTSD issue is combat related. We can control very little in our lives. So it's important that the things we can control and take command of, we do proactively. I'm at a point where I have zero faith that anybody's going to listen to me and actually reach out and say, hey, I can help you work through this. But the attempt at finding help, the attempt at contacting veterans groups and organizations, that's the one thing I could control. The one way I could, as far as my mental health and my emotional health, I could take command of them and keep moving forward. So that's what I was doing, even when I had no faith, because the act of doing it was at least me taking command of what I could. Well, the door may have opened. I got one of the one of the organizations I contacted on Monday night after filming that video was Stop Soldier Suicide. Obviously, they deal with all veterans. I'm a sailor. Had a good introduction with one of their people yesterday. Got some basic information. Had a caseworker named Yesenia, a lovely young woman, call me today, take down some basic info, and tomorrow we'll do the intake appointment. And among other things she asked was whether virtual meetings work or in person. Well, for me, unless I have a history with you, virtual meetings make me feel isolated, alone, and disposed of. I'm one of those people that I need in-person contact. No harm, no foul. It's just the way I am. Well, she took that down. She took it very seriously. Tomorrow we'll do the full intake appointment, and she'll start looking to find some resources around here in Pensacola that can help. Like I said, Stop Soldier Suicide is a national level organization, but I've got faith because they opened the door. They didn't tell me I'm the wrong kind of vet. But what about you or the person you know, your shipmate, your battle buddy? We all have terms for, in the Navy we say shipmate. Marine Corps, one of my friends, former Marine, says battle buddy. Same thing. People that we care about, that we served with. There is a way forward. It can feel like you're in a cave. I've been there. When you can't see any light, you don't know where the end is, but it's not a cave, it's a tunnel. There will be light at the end. The sucky part of this, the sad part, is it might take a long time to get there. I know. But there is light at the end as long as you keep moving forward. One lesson I learned from General Grant, one of the greatest American military leaders, one of the greatest world military leaders ever, was to keep moving forward. One of the reasons he was successful during the Civil War against Confederate forces was he never retreated. He refused to retreat for many reasons. One, he knew his own morale would get pummeled if he had to go backwards. Two, he knew the soldiers under him would be despondent if they backed up. Three, he knew that public morale would go down if they saw the Union Army once again going backwards. He would not go backwards. He always went forward. Now, forward didn't always mean a direct line forward. Forward a lot of times meant he turned and started flanking Confederate forces, especially when he went up against Robert E. Lee. He would turn and flank, go this way and that way, but there was always forward motion. And once he took command of all the Union armies, it took over a year. But it took 11 months for him to end the Civil War, because unlike other generals, he always went forward. We are the admiral in command of our own life. And that can be hard, especially if you're like me and you're single and you've been single for a very long time and you've been shafted for a very long time. But I will not go backwards. There is a light at the end of that tunnel because it is a tunnel and not a cave. However, all of us are breakable. I'm as breakable as the next guy. We all have a limit. I hit mine back in 1998. I don't want to hit it again. So one thing I kept doing was keep moving forward. Another thing, Monday night, making that video. Part of it was simply to vent to the world, all 2 or 3 of you who listen and subscribe, that I'm hurting and I'm willing to put it out there because I need to get it out somehow. If you are in crisis, if you are thinking of harming yourself, please call 911 or use the Veterans Crisis Line below. Keep moving forward. If you know somebody is hurting, even if you don't understand why they're hurting, why a certain issue is bothering them, because it's something that you were able to just kind of let it roll off your back and you're fine. You don't need to understand. You just need to accept that it's real for them. And that's what they need from you. If you want to reach out and hit me up through the comments, please do. I don't mind getting a dialogue going, veteran to veteran. Again, I'm not a provider, but shooting the shit and talking and just sharing the fact that we both are in a dark tunnel and we know what it's like to bump our head on that low ceiling because we can't see anything. That's fine. That's called reaching out and helping each other out. But looks like there is a way forward for me. We'll see where it goes. I'll keep you updated. Thank you for your time. If you've listened this far, if you think this was great, if you think this sucked and you still stayed with me this far, I appreciate it. I would ask you to like and share this video, especially if you think it will help somebody you know. I would ask you to subscribe because I do talk about veterans issues. I also talk about being a writer, talk about travel logs, sometimes current events, all kinds of things. But there is a way forward. My tagline is to go and do great things. That's, Sparks 1524 tagline, do great things. Sometimes the greatest thing you can do is just keep moving forward. Because if it keeps you alive, if it keeps you moving, it's always moving you toward the end of that tunnel. Even if you can't see the tunnel's end, it's still moving you toward it. So go and do great things by keeping moving forward. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you on the next Veterans Talk or wherever else you might find me on Sparks 1524.